What motorcycling has taught me and given me, I mean, apart from broken bones and a sore body, that's the negative. But from that one negative, the positives so outweigh that. So. I have been racing enduro for about 15 years, racing at a national and international level for the last 10 or so. I've had a lot of success. I started riding when I was 12 on an old DT175, which my dad still has in the shed. It's great. I then started racing at about 14 on a dunger. And then it just grew, something that it was a really progressive thing for me. It's funny going back to school now and being at the same school as a teacher that I was a student, because it's made me do a lot of reflection, even if it's just bits and pieces here and being remembered of, things that happened in that area or that classroom or whatever. But when I was at school, I had no idea that I would be where I am now. I was going to go and be a lawyer, finished the law degree, and then went total opposite way and raced world championships and, become a professional motorcycle rider.
She graduated from Gympie High in 2006, so it's lovely to see that a former student has gone on to further study, success, and then has come back home to Gympie High to finish off her studies as a teacher. She's for us, it's a privilege. Gemma's a wonderful person, so whether she was a world champion or not, she's going to be a great teacher, and we're happy to have her on board. And particularly because she is a wonderful female role model. With a number of our high-profile sports in our community, they're male-dominated, and to have a world champion female in a male sport really is a massive, rap to Gemma, but also it's a huge asset to our school. Her talks on being able to set your goals and dream how you want to, and then work hard towards that and strive towards that have been really engaging for our kids, because they are really interested in her story and her success, and it's great that she's a kid from Gympie who can tell kids from Gympie that this is achievable.
I started to do probably half-half. I did half motocross, half enduro, and I guess I just enduro suits me. I like being out in the bush. I like going on those long rides as opposed to sitting at a motocross track, waiting to do your 10 or 15 minute moto 3 times throughout the day. The people of enduro too, I think it's a really kind of family, nice, everyone sort of gets along atmosphere. And then, I guess, as I started to get better at it, there's so much more on offer for females in enduro than there is motocross. I mean, at the moment, unfortunately for those motocross girls, there's only one-off event in Australia for an Australian championship, and some years it doesn't even happen. Whereas for us enduro girls, we've got 6 weekends of the Australian Off-Road Championships, 12 rounds, plus the Australian 4-day enduro, plus the opportunity to be picked for the international 6-day enduro and race for your country. So there's just so much more on offer in enduro. In the beginning, lucky I had the support of my dad. He was the driving force behind it until I finished my first degree. So 2011, I finished my law degree, and it was you're on your own or it's not happening anymore, which was absolutely fair enough, and I'm glad that he did that. So 2012, I started racing World Championships, and that was a really good year. There was quite a lot of funding available from the Federation of International Motorcycling, FIM, and there were a lot of just wonderful Australian companies that chipped in for flights and things. And then I did the World Championships for 5 years, and every year it got a little bit harder and a little bit harder to find the money. FIM stopped their grants. I couldn't have raced those 5 years of World Championships without local Gympie companies, actually. My local dentist and the local security company and, the local steering guys and stuff just pitching in. And whether it was a whole flight or just $500 towards a flight. That's kind of how I've done it. And sacrifices. It's been my life for 10 years, you know. The guys that I raced when I was a junior, they chose to get houses and have jobs and have money, whereas I chose to not do anything other than motorcycling for the last 10 years, you know. And I'm lucky I've had the support of my fiance as well. You know, I live in a beautiful place, which up until the end of last year, you know, he paid the mortgage wholly and solely on his own, and I got to live here. But yeah, it was just a choice. I've loved, and I wouldn't change it. You know, I'm 28 years old. I don't have a dollar. I've never bought anything, you know, of big worth on my own. I've always had to, get help somehow. But that's the choice I made, and I wouldn't change it. Yeah, I think that everything that I'm doing at the moment kind of ties in together really nicely. I mean, I've had 10 years of racing experience and I've had no financial gain from that, but you can't weigh it up on financial gain. I've got so much more from it than that. I've, you know, had so many experiences and done so many things and learnt so much. A law degree, which now has enabled me to go and do the quick, 1-year graduate diploma in teaching. And coaching, I've been coaching for about 5 years, but more so in the last 2, and I really, really like it. So when I was trying to decide what I was going to do, I kept coming back to, of all the different part-time jobs I've had, because I've had a lot, the teaching, I worked as a teacher aide quite a few years ago now too. The teacher aiding was probably the most enjoyable. So I ended up doing secondary, just course, and it turns out that's exactly where I want to be. The adolescence, I was always kind of thought, oh, no, I wouldn't want to teach adolescents, but being in the classrooms from year 7 to year 12, you never know what's going to happen. You get to be up in front of a class of people whose lives are literally just beginning for them. And I love that young girls look up to me and see that there's opportunities in this sport and in the world at anything. I'm super glad that I'm in this position, and I'm really looking for ways to get involved in that role model area. Yeah.
I met her just before she went and did her first international race in New Zealand, and that was when the week she went off to do her first 4-day, and been around for the whole thing. I can't believe it. Just opened my eyes to so many things. She's just not what I was used to. I didn't really want to travel. I wanted to buy a house, but she's just the hardest worker I've ever met. She just picks something and goes for it. It can seem so impossible. Like doing this degree this year, I couldn't believe it. I thought this was going to be a really fun year, easy. We'll just enjoy it, no world championships, and then she threw a degree into it as well. So, the hardest, just insane, just so driven.
I started in enduro, and I still love a good trail ride to this day, going out in the bush. And I don't consider myself a competitive person, or I never used to. I realise now I'm super competitive. But John and Dad and my family used to always say, you're so competitive. So it used to always make me wonder why was I racing when I could just be riding. But just having those organised events, people that are willing to put in the same effort and time and money that you are. Obviously they're as passionate about it as you are. It doesn't have to be that you won. Finishing an event like the 6 days, or when you cross that finish line, that final moto finishes, the feeling, it's like, I can't even explain the sensation of finishing an event like the 6 days. That's why you do competition. And then, of course, standing up on the podium, singing the national anthem, big trophy, bunch of flowers, waving the Aussie flag. I mean, you can't beat that. But that's reserved for first, second, and third, I guess. But for all the girls and all the competitors that finish the 6 days, doesn't matter whether you're first or last, finishing is just the most amazing feeling. I loved going to the Worlds because it was a challenge. Worlds are insane. There are sections that give you nightmares.
Everyone is so stressed out. Every rider is so stressed out. They're trying to achieve the best thing. And if you're, like, you learn real quick that if you're involved in it, like emotionally, if your family, loved one, anything, you get emotional, and it can be really easy to get upset at them when they're upset at you. And so I just pretend like I'm just there doing my job then, like it's just work. We just get our job done.
It is such an emotional roller coaster. It's, yeah, insane. John puts up with me at these events, and then, you know, he'll tell me all the horrible things I did and said. But he's so good to put up with it and then let me make it up to him later.
And she's so stressed out and like wound up, but like it's just her trying to achieve something that is like virtually impossible for most people. So like it's hard, but exciting at the same time. She could do it all. If I wasn't there, she still does it, but I just try to make it easier.
You're on the bike 7-8 hours a day for the first 5 days, and then a final moto on the last day. And yeah, in just one day, you can go from loving life and stoked to be riding around in France to wanting to go see your bike off a cliff and never look at one again, to back to loving it again. I've said it a million times, to do an event like a 4-day or 6-day, you've got to love riding, because you wouldn't dare to sit on a bike for that long. But then even then, it's still pretty up and down. I've started 7 and I finished 6. I DNF'd in Finland in 2011. My chain snapped halfway through day 5. And it was brutal that 6-day too. So to be that close to finishing and not quite was a real shame. But the rest of them I finished, and yeah, we've won the last 5 in a row as the female women's team, which is amazing. And yeah, it says a lot about what Australian Enduro has to offer, that our girls, myself, Taylor and Jess, can be that far above as a team the rest of the world. But every year the gap closes. So 5 years ago we won by hours. This year we only just won. Women in Enduro worldwide is really escalating, which is fantastic.
The biggest thing I've learned from Gem is take every opportunity. Like all these opportunities in life that I've just learnt to just take them, just have a go. I never knew that skill in life. Like I didn't know that even existed, to just have a go at something. Yeah, she's incredible for that.
I don't know what next year's gonna bring, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. Actually, I do know, I'm finally getting married to John.